Hi, I'm Tim Kirkjian with ESPN, and you're watching Raptor Baseball on MC TV.
So we are set to get underway.
Sound the sirens, rattle the cage, cause this is the symphony born out of rage. Fist to the sky and my past in the flame. I was built to rebel. I can feel it in my bones and now. Move our bodies as we own the night. I can feel it in my bones and now. Move our bodies as we own the night. I'm the beat that don't break, the wind that won't yield. The ghost in the gears and the fire in the field. No script, no map, just scars and sparks. I write my legend in lightning marks.
And welcome back to the Germantown campus of Montgomery College. Michael Brown alongside my partner, Andre Anderson, and we are all set for the second game of our doubleheader this afternoon. The Raptors dropped the first one, and they are hoping to even this doubleheader up here this afternoon, but they've got their work cut out for them, Andre, against a very good Essex team.
Yeah, they had Essex. They had a really good game in the first one. Pitching by Parsons was outstanding. Defensively, the team was good. Hitting all around, the team played really well.
All right, let's run down the starting lineups for the Raptors. On the mound in the second game is Hubbard. And if you haven't seen this guy pitch, he's a lefty, and watch this motion. He throws it a little bit of a submariner there. And Cayman Hubbard is number 2. This is his 12th appearance on the season. He has started 3 games for the Raptors. He's pitched 74 innings. He has 1 win, 1 loss, but most impressively, he has an ERA of 2.80. So he has been quite stingy. And the Raptors are going to need an excellent effort from him after dropping the first game. Raptors infield, let's set the positions for the Raptors. Hubbard pitching, Payan behind the plate, Martin at first, Mandler at second, Newell at third, Rosenbaum at short, Anderson in left, Mason in center, and Kritzky in right. And leading off for Essex in the second game is the same leadoff hitter they had the first game, and that is number 3, Maxwell Urena. Urena had 1 hit in the first game. He also scored the first run in the first game, got on through an error, and then eventually came around on a balk to score the first run of the game for Essex. Essex was in control from the beginning. There's a bouncer to short, Rosenbaum to first for the out.
Great start by the Raptors. Right here defensively, they're going to want to keep this going and make this a quick inning.
Up next is number 24, Jimmy Perez. Jimmy Perez had an excellent first game for the Essex. He is their center fielder. Had 2 hits in the first game, a home run and a double. Scored a couple of runs. And also had 2 RBIs in the first game. So he was a thorn in the Raptors' side all 7 innings. Again, this is the second game of our doubleheader. The Raptors dropped the first game, and so they need this one badly. These games have an impact on the playoffs, Andre.
Yes, they do. Both teams are neck and neck in the standings. Virtually have a very similar record. So with Essex winning that first game, it's crucial that MC does win this one to kind of keep up in the standings.
So Hubbard behind in the count early. He's got 36 strikeouts on the season in his 74 innings of pitch that he's pitched. Has given up a couple of home runs this year, and he's behind in the count to Perez, 3-1. Beautiful day here. If you're just joining us, it's just an absolutely picture-perfect baseball day, and he loses Perez, so walks the second man, and that brings up Zayas. Zayas is the right fielder, and he was 1 for 3 in the first game with 1 RBI. He's the top base stealing threat. Got a new catcher behind the plate for the Raptors, Justin Payan, out of Weston, Florida. He's a freshman.
Seeming to be a decent amount of freshmen on this Raptors team this year. They had a lot of sophomores, I know, last year that left. So it was like a decent rotation on the team.
Well, and to remind everybody, last year was a highly successful year for the Raptors. They won the regions. They went on to the World Series, and when it always happens at this level. When a team has a really good year, they lose players to four-year schools.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened to the Raptors. For the Raptors, is a lot of their best players from last year's team, whether they were sophomores or not, are no longer with the team.
Yeah, and that's one thing about community college as well, like athletics, is that you're only having these players for 2 years maximum regardless. So if they do have, say, their sophomore year was like one where they exploded and, you know, they're on the come up, well, they're gone. So you can't really keep them for those 4 years like you can at the 4-year level.
No, you cannot. So it makes it tough. Recruiting is never ending.
Yeah.
Of course, the budgets at this level, the athletic budgets, the scholarship budgets are not what they are at a 4-year school.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm seeing the old Tennessee quarterback. I don't know if you just noticed that. This man was making $2.4 million in college and then wanted $4 million. Like 2.4 isn't enough. So it's a whole new level, a whole new game out here nowadays.
That is for sure. The NIL has really changed the landscape. 3 balls, 2 strikes now. 1 out, man on first. Top of the first inning. There's a ground ball. Nice play by Rosenbaum, and he got the runner, got the lead runner at second base. Beautiful play by Van Rosenbaum.
Yeah, I need to see that replay. Oh, and just on cue.
Here we go. Deep into the hole. Pivots, and beautiful. Boy, that was nicely done by the Raptors.
Yeah, very good start here
That
for
brings
the
up
Raptors.
Cook. Cook was 0 for 2 in the first game, but he did have 2 walks, and he scored a run. So Rosenbaum with a very nice play, and most importantly, he cuts off the lead runner. That brings, and so Cook is up. Cook came into the doubleheader with a 319 batting average. Again, he was hitless, but he did walk twice and score a run. So he was definitely in the mix. goes, throw it down to second, and he is safe. So that's a stolen base for Zayas. Take a look at that. Ooh. If the throw had been on the base, he was out. So Zayas, who came into the doubleheader with 22 steals. He had a steal in the first game. He's got one here in the second, so he's now got 24 for the season.
And he's doing what he does best.
He's leading the team, and he's in the top 5 in Region 20 in steals. Got a piece of that to stay alive. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner on second base with a lot of speed. So whatever happens here, the Raptors really want to keep the ball in the infield. There's a foul down third base line. So Hubbard really comes in low.
Win it, Tay, win it.
This is a sophomore from Potomac.
So that submarine pitch, though, how is it as a batter? Like, I'm trying to, just imagine trying to hit the sub. The ball's going low, coming back up, going back down. Is that the case?
It tends to rise. The ball tends to rise when it comes in that low, and that ends the inning. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But after a half inning of play, we have no score. We'll be back with the Raptors after this.
Nah, but I mean, it was.
The call was a little loud.
Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, now hold your breath and face your death.
At Montgomery College, dedication has no end, and ambition knows no age. It's home to people like you, who see the blank pages in the book not as dreams deferred, but as chapters yet to be written, and who work tirelessly toward their goals while being a mentor to others along the way. Discover your passion, unlock your potential, and become the author of their future too at Montgomery College.
And welcome back to the Germantown campus of Montgomery College. We're all set to get the bottom half of the first inning underway. And on the hill for Essex in the second game is Logan Bennett. This is Logan's 8th appearance of the season, his 4th start. He's pitched 25 1/3 innings. He has 1 win, 1 loss, has a respectable ERA of 4.97. The fly in the ointment for Logan may be that he's given up 4 home runs this season. So 4 home runs in 8 appearances. So perhaps that's something for the Raptors to look at. The rest of the starters: Brewer at catcher, Cook at first, Urena at second, Carroll at short, Bailey at third, Rodriguez Pozo in left, Perez in center, and Zayas in right. And leading off for the Raptors is Hayden Hare. He's actually the DH here in the second game. And Hayden did have a single in the first game. He was 1 for 4. He did score a run as well.
He did a pretty good job playing first base as well.
He made some very nice plays at first base. He certainly did. And there's a high, I guess it bounced foul first. It hit foul. That would have been an interesting play had it not hit off the foot of the batter. He's wearing a protective brace or shield over his left shin and the top of his foot. So apparently this has happened before.
Yeah, I would say that's also pretty smart. I mean, that ball's coming in there pretty quickly. It's not forgiving if it hits you.
No, it certainly is not. Logan Bennett is out of Forest Hills, New York. He's a sophomore. There's a line drive into right field, but right at the right fielder. Boy, can't hit it much better than that. But right at the right fielder, Zayas. And that brings up Anderson, Nicky Anderson. He was hitless in the first game. Made a nice running catch in foul territory in the first game. And once again, I must point out that he is from Piqua, Ohio.
And once again, we are still trying to figure out some restaurants in that area.
I think Andre wants to take a road trip to Piqua.
I want to check it out. Seems like it'd be a cool place.
No offense to Piqua, but it's sort of underwhelming there. Yeah.
No,
But I'm one to talk because I grew up in Springfield, Ohio, which is less than underwhelming.
I was gonna say I've never been to Ohio before, so I know.
Oh, you've never been to Ohio?
Never.
The Buckeye State?
I know that the
Home of the national champion Ohio State
there we go.
Buckeyes.
Okay, there we go.
You were waiting for that.
Yeah, I was like, that's coming soon.
And I won't repeat what our director just said in my headset because he just blasphemed the state of Ohio, but it had something to do with the football team.
Work here, Mick. Work here.
He can't help it. He's a Terps fan, after all.
What do you say? 3, what do you say? Come on, 3.
Nicky Anderson looking for his first hit on the afternoon. There's a blooper out into center, and he made, nope, it hung up there long enough for Perez to gather it in. So 2 quick outs. That brings up Van Rosenbaum. He was 2 for 3 in the first game, scored a couple of runs, had a couple of really nice plays in the field. Excellent first game for Van. Came into the afternoon hitting .322. Takes a strike. Behind home plate in the second game, we've got Matt Van Paris, and I'm sure he's very happy to be covering the bases, and that's Vance Coleman, who had a rough, there's a bouncer to third. This is going to be an interesting play. Rosenbaum with a good speed, but we got him. So 3 up, 3 down there for Bennett. And so after 1 complete, we are scoreless.
Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, now hold your breath and face your death.
At Montgomery College, dedication has no end, and ambition knows no age. It's home to people like you who see the blank pages in the book not as dreams deferred, but as chapters yet to be written, and who work tirelessly toward their goals while being a mentor to others along the way. Discover your passion, unlock your potential, and become the author of their future too at Montgomery College.
And welcome back to the Germantown campus of Montgomery College. We're all set for the top half of the second inning. And leading off for Essex will be Castillo. He was 2 for 3. Boy, he was a real catalyst in the first game. 2 for 3. He also got on when he was hit by a pitch. He scored 2 runs and he knocked 2 in.
A little bit of everything.
So he's DHing in the second game here. And Rafael Castillo from Queens. Rounds it up the middle. Rosenbaum's got it. Easy play. So 1 pitch, 1 out.
So do we want to jump back into that conversation about the submarine pitch and kind of how?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, well, first of all, the arm slot is completely different.
Yeah.
So that throws a hitter off a little bit. That takes some getting used to. He's a lefty, so he's coming from the other side. The motion is deceptive, and I can see that he's got a couple of different arm angles. Sometimes it's more sidearm. Other times it's a little more submarine where he goes down even deeper. So a submarine pitch tends to rise,
Yeah.
which can cause trouble. That was a little more of a submariner. But the sidearm causes a problem too because it can cross, basically
The plate.
cross.
Yeah.
So, and it comes from a different angle. So there's a lot of things for a hitter to get used to. And I'm not trying to jinx Kamen, but usually as the game goes on, the hitters start to get used to it. The Raptors only hope that Kamen can go deep into this game. And then we'll see what happens in terms of whether they can get used to it or not. But there's a shot to third. Boy, it hit Blake Newell in the face. Ooh. Oh, man. Oh, he hit him hard. Took a bad bounce, it caught him by surprise, and it got him right in the face. And boy, we really hate to see that. And that happened so quickly, we didn't even get to introduce the hitter, which is Connor Bailey. Blake Newell is still down.
And he had himself a tremendous first game, a lot of great defensive plays. So this could be a loss for the Raptors.
Boy, that's for sure. He's sitting up at least. I can't imagine he doesn't at least have a bloody nose.
Yeah.
So, boy, you hate to see that.
Yeah, it's rough. That's a rough one.
I
But
mean,
he's
as
tough.
beautifully manicured as this infield is, and it certainly is, you know, it's baseball.
Yeah.
The ball comes, it's got spin on it. It's, you know, and all it has to do is hit, you know, something, a pebble, who knows what. Yeah, he's definitely got a bloody nose. So the question is will he come out? And I'm guessing he will. And he does. So let's hope that there's nothing broken. But, man,
Yeah, it's rough.
that ball hit him hard.
It's a rough one.
So, yeah, Blake Newell will have to come out of the game.
And this is actually another injury on a long list of injuries for the Raptors. Speaking to the coach earlier on in the game, he was saying how many injuries they've had and kind of some freak accidents as well. So
Yeah, well, this one goes down in that category.
yep.
And he's being replaced by Eric Machado. I don't know, is he any relation to Manny?
Yeah, but they would hope so.
Yeah. So Machado comes in for the injured Blake Newell. Machado is a freshman out of Miami, Florida. And he's had some decent playing time this year, so it's not like he is hasn't played much. He's going to need to get warmed up. Eric is comes in hitting .236 on the season with a .391 on base percentage. So we're back to the action now. And that brings up number 18, Cameron Brewer. Cameron did not play in the first game, but he is our catcher here in the second game. So resetting, we have one out, a man on first.
Catcher, Steven Baxter.
And the man on first is Bailey, Connor Bailey, freshman out of Salisbury, Maryland. Outside. There's a strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. No score in the top of the second. Again, this is game 2 of our doubleheader. Essex took the first game. There's a pop-up. It's going to stay in the infield. Kritzky with an easy grab. So that's the second out of the inning. And that brings up number 19, Lorenzo Rodriguez Pozo. He was 0 for 1 in the first game. Came in as a substitute. Here goes the throw, and it gets into center field, so he is safe. So Bailey with the steal.
Once again, the Knights being aggressive, stealing the bases.
Well, we were told that, we talked earlier about their statistics and how many they have stolen 112 bases. There's a ball into the outfield, and it is the third out. So we'll get back to their base running exploits, but the Raptors get out of that inning unscathed. So let's take a look at that. Ground ball to second, Kritzky, easy play, and the Raptors get out of that one despite the injury to Blake Newell. We certainly, again, hope he's okay. We'll take a break. We'll be back with the bottom of the second after this.
MC is defined by those who put in the work.
The paths we took have been unique, but we come together with one shared mission.
If you are the first in your family to graduate, if you speak more than one language, if you are more than 50 years old, a military service member, an honor student, if you are a parent, please stand up and say, I am MC.
We don't just begin to be inspired by them after graduation. They've been inspiring us every step of the way.
And welcome back to the Germantown campus of Montgomery College. I was so enamored by the drone shot rising above the backstop here, and there, believe it or not, that's a Montgomery MCTV employee up there flying around.
Yeah. Paid actor.
He's carrying the camera.
That's the drone.
We have a trained bird as our drone operator.
Yes, trained by Dan Rankin. Does a great job.
Dan Rankin, and I heard a rumor that Mickey Mouse.
Yes, that's our next thing that Dan is training.
Yeah, had something to do with it. And Mighty Mouse.
Yes. That one, Mighty Mouse is trained by Peter.
And this is Kritzky, Jaden Kritzky. He's 1 for 2 in the first game, scored a run. Also had a couple of ribbies. Played a solid second base. So he's leading off the second inning here.
Ooh.
He popped him up. Shortstop takes it. So 1 up, 1 down for the Raptors.
Are you good, bro?
Bennett's pitch count in the first inning was very economical. He had just 14 pitches in the first inning. And this brings up Trey Mason. Mason was hitless in the first game.
Yeah, we do know he has a lot of speed, so getting him on base is crucial this time around.
It really is. He's a catalyst and can really get things going. He can distract the pitcher. He's definitely going to worry the catcher.
Second-year player.
He's an experienced player. He's on the Raptors team last year that went all the way to the NJCAA Division II World Series. Raptors would like nothing better than a return trip, but it's going to take some doing. They've dug themselves into a bit of a hole. There's a pop-up into short center, and Garcia's got it. 2 up, 2 down. And that brings up Eric Machado. Eric, as we said, is out of Miami, Florida. Did not see action in the first game. In case you just joined us, he's in as a replacement for Blake Newell, the Raptors' starting third baseman, who took a bad hop, a real hard hit bad hop grounder off his face. And we're just hoping that Blake's okay. He came off under his own power, but it looked to me like there was blood involved.
Yeah, not something that you want to see.
Bennett throwing hard.
That was an 81-mile-per-hour fastball. A lot of speed on that one.
Right, and of course, Essex got a great start in the first game out of Casey Parsons and went all the way, complete game, as Essex took it. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the second, and we're scoreless at this point. Raptors looking for their first hit. Foul back. These two teams very close in the standings. They may well meet in the postseason. You never know. There are quite a few games left until we get there, but it's really not far off. In the dirt.
There you go, man.
Full count. Bit of a breeze now.
Yeah, I do see that as well.
It's been a rather calm day. There's a liner into right center. It going to go all the way to the wall, almost to the wall. Machado eases into second base with a stand-up double. Well hit ball.
Jaden, get him in, kid. Come on, Jaden. Drop run in. RBI time.
So, diving try there by Perez, couldn't come up with it. The right fielder did a nice job backing it up. Otherwise, that ball was going to the wall, and Machado would probably be standing at third.
Oh, yeah. And if Perez couldn't get there on a diving effort, you know that was a perfectly placed hit. Perez has a lot of speed in that center field.
So that is the first hit of this game for the Raptors, and that brings up Jaden Mandler. Jaden pinch hit in the first game, and he was 1 for 1. Had a hitter, he had a single. I'm sorry, make that a double. And Jaden is a freshman out of Gaithersburg, so right down the road. Comes in hitting .234. Looking for his first. I'm sorry, I take that back. He's got 5 RBIs this season.
Gotta beat him to. Not even Hudson didn't leave this area.
So the Raptors trying to jump out to a lead here. They got a runner in scoring position with 2 outs in the bottom of the second. Ooh, that was a tough pitch.
Yeah, it was a little bit high as well.
Boy, that just locked him up. Man, nasty pitch.
80 miles per hour. Yeah, some movement as well.
Yep.
80 miles per hour and a little bit high.
Yeah, that
hard
pitch
one
is
to hit.
unhittable.
Yeah, the ball, I've seen a lot of a lot of movement on these pitches. In and out a little bit. Yep. Rising as well.
Jaden Mandler. Full count. And he fights off a pitch, stays alive. I think he's questioning whether he swung at ball 4 or not. But the Raptors, you know, I have no problem with them being a little aggressive here at the plate, particularly after falling in the first game.
Yeah, this is the perfect time for them actually to be aggressive. Man on base, full count.
Way outside, so he lost him.
Okay, maybe not be aggressive and get on base on a walk.
So that puts 2 men on now. And that brings up the catcher, Justin Payan, who did not play in the first game. Justin's a freshman out of Weston, Florida.
Wow, those are sweaty.
Comes in hitting .306.
Come on, kid, drive him in 2-4. Let's go, babe.
Got 9 ribbies. He's also got a home run on the season. And a very impressive .432 on base percentage. So he does a good job of getting on. Fouls that one off. Got a good swing on it. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, but the Raptors with runners on first and second. And a chance to grab their first lead of the afternoon. They trailed the entire first game.
Yeah.
a strike.
It was a great pitch.
Trying to make him work a little bit, which is not a bad idea. And our statistician, Evan Brown, just pointed out something. The walk to Mandler, who is now on first base, that is the first walk given up by Essex the entire afternoon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a great stat.
That is a great stat. Casey Parsons pitched a complete game in the first game and didn't walk a batter. And I've called a lot of games at this level, and I can't recall ever calling a game where one team didn't walk anybody.
That's impressive.
You know, it's impressive enough at the major league level.
Yeah, exactly.
But particularly at this level, where they're playing so many games in such a short amount of time, you're running through pitchers like you do socks, you know. It's in the dirt, and that's going to allow Machado to move to third. So it was not a wild pitch. The catcher did a good job to keep it in front of him, but Machado didn't hesitate to motor into third.
Yes, we got runners on the corners.
There goes Mandler. There's a grounder to third. Throw to first for the out. So the Raptors threaten, but they come up empty-handed. So after 2 complete, we're scoreless. We'll be back with more.
If there's one word I could pick to describe Aces, I think it would honestly be like home, and just that feeling of home, and that the people in your home who support you, who love you through anything, and that's what Aces is to me.
Aces just helped my whole college career. If I didn't have them, I think I would be stuck in my first year, struggling through classes.
I would like to thank Miss Gina. This last semester, she has done a wonderful job working with me hand by hand and helping me improve my public speaking skills. If it wasn't for her, I think that I wouldn't be standing here today with you guys.
Welcome back to another gorgeous drone shot of the Germantown campus of Montgomery College. We're all set for the top of the third inning. One of the spots that we just saw there was related to commencement, and of course that's a big time of year at any college, particularly at Montgomery College. There's a line drive right back to Hubbard, makes it look easy.
Very good reflexes right there.
So Rodriguez Pozo that was Carroll, liner to the pitcher for the out. But anyway, back to MC's graduation is coming up late May, I believe, and it's always a big event. May 23rd, I'm being told. It's always on a Friday. And it's coming up real soon.
Yeah, the most exciting time of the year, definitely for the students. I can tell you that. I mean, graduating, walking across that stage.
Absolutely, it's a special moment for the student and their families.
Yes, yes.
And of course, it will be on MCTV. It'll be on there live. It'll also be streaming.
Yes, it will.
It'll be streaming worldwide.
Yes, yes.
So,
As Montgomery College is one of, it's a very international school. A lot of students from all around the world. So.
well over 150 countries
Yes.
represented on the 3 campuses and satellite locations for Montgomery College.
Yep.
And when I worked there full time, and back I was a student there. I was a returning student.
Okay.
One of my favorite parts was the diversity of the student body. So always a great thing. Always a great thing. So anyway, that brings up Urena. He grounded out his first time up, and now he walks here in the 3rd inning, and that brings up Perez. Oh, you hate to see those walks. And that puts Urena on, and he is a threat to steal. He's got 9 steals. And Perez, who has been involved in a whole lot of stuff this afternoon. He's been a busy guy out in center field, and he's been a thorn in the Raptors' side offensively.
He has been. He has been. A lot of speed as well. He wants to get on base for sure.
I mean, this kid just looks like a baseball player. Throw to first. And he's a lefty. So Kamen Hubbard on the mound to start the 3rd inning. Threw a lot of pitches. He's got him picked off. Throw to second.
Got him. And he's out.
And he is out. So he was picked off.
Here's
Let's take a look. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Raptors, easy out. So that's how you take care of that walk.
Oh, yeah. And being a left-hander with the player or a base runner on first, running the second, you can see him kind of moving. It's a pretty, I wouldn't say it's an obvious one, but it's a good look for you as a left-hander.
Oh, it's much easier for a lefty to pick off a runner than it is a righty. They have full view. They don't have to look over their shoulder.
Exactly.
And they can be more deceptive as a result. There's a shot to right. That's going to be in there. It's going to hit the fence. Perez rolling into second, and he'll stay there. So that pickoff now becomes huge, because my guess is Urena's scoring on that on that hit.
At least getting to 3rd, which means, especially with only 1 out as well, they would have a very good position to get in. Run back.
So that pickoff really looms large. Now, we were talking about Essex, and they love to run. They have a ton of stolen bases this season. And our statistician, Evan Brown, was talking to one of their coaches, and he said, listen, we're aggressive on the bases, but because we're aggressive, we're also going to make mistakes. And clearly, Urena made a mistake there. He led too far, and Hubbard was able to pick him off. And that was a huge out. So that brings up Zayas. He got on via fielder's choice his first time up, and then he ended up stealing second, but he did not score. He's the top base stealer on the Essex team. Throw to second. They got him picked off.
There you go again.
And he is out.
Wow.
So 2 guys picked off in the same inning. And boy, that's how you take care of a potential rally. So beautifully done by the Raptors. Let's take a look at this. Oh my gosh. He's a total sitting duck. So after 2.5, we're scoreless. We'll be right back.
water. Troubles in my mind.
And we are back on the Germantown campus of Montgomery College, and yet another breathtaking drone shot. Now, if you look directly in the center of the screen in the distance, that is Sugarloaf Mountain. And,
Beautiful.
One of the landmarks here in this part of Maryland.
Yep.
And I don't know if you've had the opportunity to climb to the top of it, but it's pretty cool. Sadly, right now, there's a bit of a battle going on there over access.
Really?
Yes. Apparently the mountain is owned by some group.
The mountain is owned by
Yes, the mountain
like
is
the
owned
physical
by,
mountain.
Yes, the physical mountain. Oh, there's a shot to left.
Oh.
And it's
Wow.
foul.
Okay, but can we roll this back to the mountain? I'm confused about this.
The mountain apparently is privately owned by some consortium or group, and they're trying to limit the access because it gets so crowded there and people are not taking care of the property. I'm not sure of all the details,
Yeah.
but I know that there's some kind of a battle over access going on.
Wow.
With Sugarloaf Mountain. Yeah. Anyway, this is Jaime Martin. He is a freshman out of Mayock, North Carolina. Comes in hitting 300. Takes it high. He's got a 500 on base percentage. Doesn't have that many at bats, but hey, if you're getting on base every 2 times, 1 out of every 2 times up, you're doing something right.
Get him up to the plate.
Chin music there from Bennett. Had some mustard on that one. And he lost him. So Martin opens up the third with a walk. And I don't know if you know the stats on that one, Andre, but nearly 50% of the time, if you walk the leadoff runner, they come around to score.
Really?
At all levels of baseball. It's true at this level all the way through the majors.
Okay. And especially with no outs, it seems like that could actually come into fruition.
So that brings up Hayden Hare. He flew out to right field his first time up. He's the DH in the second game. He played first base in the opener. Breeze is picked up again. That's going to be inside. So Martin on first. Martin looking for his first stolen base of the year. Frankly, looking at him, I'd be surprised if he's a threat. There's a fly ball out to right, deep, but it's hauled in by Zayas. Martin has to return to first. So Hare with another fly ball to right. And that brings up Anderson. He flew out to center his first time up. Was hitless in the first game. Mickey Anderson. Raptors swung right through that one. Trying to capitalize on this leadoff walk. There's a fly ball, foul down the left field line.
They're getting to the ball. They're hitting it. It's just going foul.
That's what he needs.
through that one. So Anderson down swinging. He got him fishing on that one. And that'll bring up Van Rosenbaum, the Raptors shortstop. He grounded out to third his first time up. So now 2 down. Martin still at first after a leadoff walk. Rosenbaum has played a real nice shortstop today for the Raptors.
He has.
Outside. There's a shot to center. But our friend Perez is out there to gather it in. So after a leadoff walk, Bennett bears down. Raptors don't score. So after 3 complete, we are scoreless. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Germantown campus of Montgomery College. Just want to remind you that coming up next Tuesday, April 22nd at 2 p.m., it's going to be the annual Fun at the Ballpark celebration here to thank the Raptors, to show your Raptor pride. It's a way to celebrate the season and thank the team for all that they have done. As part of that day, the Raptors are playing Hagerstown Community College. That's always a good matchup.
Always.
But there's going to be fun. There's going to be food, free food. There's going to be T-shirts. There's going to be games. The provost for the Germantown campus will be here to throw out the first pitch.
Okay.
It's always a fun day, and it's a great way to recognize the Raptors for putting in all the hard work out here for the school. So, again, that's next Tuesday, April 22nd at 2 p.m. Fun at the ballpark as the Raptors take on Hagerstown.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. So we are back in action, and Zayas, who had a 1-1 count on him when the runner was picked off to end the inning, so he started his at-bat this inning with a 1-1 count, and now it's a 3-1 count. As Hubbard is back out there. And Zayas, as we said earlier, when he was up the last time, he got on his first time up on a fielder's choice and did steal a base, but was stranded. So count is full now. Zayas is the top base stealing threat for. Oh, strike three. Zayas clearly did not agree as he tossed his bat aside and was ready to trot to first. The umpire had a different opinion.
Yeah, and he kind of left a little early. He was trying to he was basically telling the ump that it was a ball rather than the ump saying that it was a ball.
He was trying to sell it.
Yeah.
And that usually doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, and once again, in this case, it did not work. That brings up Cook. And Cook is 0 for 1 on in this one. Grounded out. His first time up. Justin Cook, sophomore first baseman out of Bradenton, Florida. Essex with quite a far-flung roster. Players from all over the East Coast and Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah. New York.
I thought for sure when I was going through this the other day, I saw a player from Japan. Yes, number 26, Ayu Ota is from Samuchita, Japan, and I'm sure I really screwed that up. So
it's the effort that counts.
Yes, well, that's a hit by pitch. That was a side armor that didn't break. So that puts a runner on with 1 out. And that brings up the DH, Castillo. He grounded out to shortstop his first time up. Runner on first, 1 out. We're in the top of the 4th of a scoreless second game. Raptors trying to get this one to split the doubleheader. Trying to swing right through that one.
That's a good pitch right there. See, those for a right-handed hitter going against a left-handed pitcher that's like throwing a sidearm sub type of pitch can be difficult, especially on the inside of the plate.
Yeah,
you can get kind of choked up with the bat, and then it's one of those where you're kind of like swinging and no power, and there's no kind of like technique on the swing.
It's even tougher if you're a lefty, left-handed batter going against a left-handed pitcher who pitches from the side, drops it down like that. Boy, that is tough. We don't have many lefties in this game. The only lefty that immediately jumps to mind for Essex is Perez.
Yeah.
But of course, he had a double his last time up, so. But he's just a quality ball player. I think he can handle just about anything from what I can tell today. Here's throw to first. No problem getting back. Cook has 5 steals on the season. He's at first. There's a fly ball, well hit to left, and it is gone. Into the pines. And Castillo. Rafael Castillo from Queens, New York, with a 2-run bomb to left. So that breaks the scoreless tie. And that hit by pitch comes back to haunt Hubbard. There's a bunt. It goes foul. So let's take a look at that home run swing by Castillo. Boom.
Yeah.
That was right in the bread box.
Yeah, it was clean.
And that was a no doubt about it shot up into the pines behind the left field fence.
When the ball goes back there, it's hard to find.
It sure is. However, having operated many cameras back there, you can find many balls back there. Most of them are waterlogged, however.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there like a pond back there?
No, it's just wet.
Wet.
It's wet because of the pines. The sun really never gets to it back there. The pine. Oh, I am so familiar with it back there. The pine needles on the floor, on the ground, are in some places are like a foot deep.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
I used to haul gear back there at my young age.
Sounds like you missed those times.
Oh, not really.
I was like, all right, where's he gonna go with this?
Not really.
Okay. Well, I know you missed the people during that time.
I missed the people,
but not hauling the gear back and forth during that time.
Although I was in better shape back then.
Okay. Yeah.
Because of that. There's one thing you learn, and one thing you learn if you work at this field enough, it's on top of a hill.
Yeah.
So when you're bringing gear in, you're always going up a hill.
Yeah, bringing it up the hill.
I don't care whether you come in from the third base side, the first base side, out in the outfield, you got to come up a hill.
Yep.
So you earn your Wheaties.
I'm not sure the kids know what Wheaties are anymore. They eat like, cinnamon toast crunch and Lucky Charms.
Nobody eats Wheaties anymore?
I don't know.
Anyway, we're taking the limelight away here from number 18, Cameron Brewer. Cameron is 0 for 1. He popped out to second his first time up. And he lost him. So a 2-out walk to Brewer, and that brings up Rodriguez Pozo. And he is a lefty, so he's the second lefty in the lineup for Essex here in the second game. And off first, 2 outs, but 2 in. Fly ball out to center. Easy catch there for Mason. So that is the end of the half inning, but not before Essex gets 2 on a 2-run homer by Castillo. So after 3.5, Essex on top 2-0.
What's the game change?
MC is defined by those who put in the work, and MC students do. We don't just begin to be inspired by those students after graduation, they inspire us every step of their journey.
Operations research, data analysts. All businesses need analytics. They anticipate the growth to be 25% over the next 5 years.
Hi, I'm Tim Kirkjian with ESPN, and you're watching Raptor Baseball on MC TV.
And welcome back. We are all set to get the bottom half of the 4th underway, and we don't have a good vantage point from where we are right now. I'm wondering if there is activity in the Raptors bullpen because Cayman Hubbard is now up to 70 pitches after 4 innings of work. So perhaps one of our camera guys can let us know if there's any action in the Raptors bullpen.
Right fielder, Jaden Kritzky.
Okay, the word we're getting is nobody's warming up at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that. But we're wondering about the pitch count, which is why I asked the question. Here's a ground ball to third. Throw to first is high, and he's safe. So Kritzky beats it out, and that'll be a base hit.
Looks like it's going to be a conversation, actually.
Oh.
Let's see the replay. Oh, looks like he got him. Oh, no. He's
First baseman definitely thinks he's out. He points to the umpire.
Yeah, the umps are talking.
They're conferring. And they call him out.
He's out, yep.
Wow. Let's take another look. Throw is high. Runner.
Yep.
He got him.
Yeah, he got him. Yep.
He got him. Beautiful replay there by the MCTV camera crew. Excellent job.
And great calls by the ump as well.
Yep, good, and it was a good decision for the umpires to get put their heads together, because the home plate umpire Matt Van Paris actually had a better view of it.
Yeah, he did.
But the two of them together were on top of it. I was hoping that Dan would pull an Earl Weaver there.
Pulled the third base plate up and just
kick a little dirt over the home plate like Earl Weaver used to do. The one thing Dan is not going to do is go back into the dugout and have a viceroy, which is what Earl Weaver would do.
A lot of confidence,
Legendary manager Earl Weaver was known for smoking on the bench or maybe just into the tunnel, and his brand of choice was Viceroy.
Oh, wow.
I'm not even sure they make those anymore, but that was his brand of choice. The legendary Earl Weaver. They don't make them like that anymore.
No, not at all.
Man, that guy was entertaining. Not only that, fantastic man. Boy, he could grow some tomatoes out there in that left field garden that he had with the groundskeeper Pat Santarone. And I tell you, I could listen to Jim Palmer tell Earl Weaver stories all day long. I just heard him tell one the other day online. It was one I hadn't heard before, about Earl wanting him to throw strike one. Remember how we were talking about the importance of strike one?
Yep.
And anyway, we missed we totally talked over the fact that Mason walked, and he's on first, which makes that call, that changed call at first, even more important. That brings up Machado. Machado doubled his first time up. So the Raptors trying to get something going here. Mason, a threat to steal, definitely. Top base stealer on the Raptors team. It's just a 2-run game, so would not surprise me to see Dan Rasher send him. Got 20 stolen bases on the season. There he goes. There's the throw, and it gets into center, and thought about going to third, but he stayed there.
Yeah, he's one of those players that's so fast, you kind of know he's going to steal, but you can't really do anything about it.
No, he's going to beat that throw, and he had such a good jump there. He's going to beat that throw whether it's on the bag or not. So Machado now with a chance to drive in a run with a runner in scoring position. You got to figure with Mason's speed, anything to the outfield here, just about anything to the outfield is going to score a run.
Yeah.
Unless he has to hold to make sure it's not caught on the fly. And he's not being held. The shortstop's dancing in and out a little bit. Machado walks. So all of a sudden the Raptors with something brewing. 2 walks in a row now by Bennett.
And Machado's on base once again.
And here comes the pitching coach for Essex. This is the first time they've had to make a trip to the mound today. Mandler will be is up next for the Raptors. Mandler walked his last time up. That's the 4th walk of the game for Bennett. And again, that makes that first game for Casey Parsons
even more extravagant.
Yep. 0 walks, 7 complete innings for a complete game. Only 1 hit for the Raptors. Boy, a hit right here would be quite timely. So Mandler, and he took it, but it hit the outside corner. Jade Mandler, a freshman.
I don't think so either.
Playing second here. Oh, they
Still on you!
close. But Mason got back. That was clearly a play on there.
Yeah, and they know his speed. They know it.
Second baseman is definitely shading much closer to second. Mandler takes a strike.
Yeah, that was a great pitch on the inside.
He knew it.
Mandler!
2 on, just 1 out. Raptors threatening, trailing 2-0. Here's a line drive right to the shortstop. Throw to first. Not in time.
Come on, kid. I'm done with you.
Catcher, Justin.
Came off the bat looking good, but it died. That brings up Payon. He grounded out to third his last time up. 2 outs now for the Raptors. They need a 2-out hit here.
Oh.
Right on the outside corner.
Let's go, Justin. Let's
Breaking
go. Come
ball.
on, Greg. Good job.
Justin Payon from Weston, Florida. Be a great time for his 10th RBI of the season. He's sitting at 9. And that's outside. Just heard over my headset that there's some action in the Essex bullpen. That is number 27. And that's Austin Schiffer.
Probably gonna try to surprise you later, but
their very effective relievers got an ERA of 3.47. There's a pop foul out of play. The runners were moving.
Hey, can we get on that, fellas?
Yeah, it's time for the Raptors to be a bit aggressive, trying to get some of the base runners at third base, getting them across the home plate. Bottom of the fourth.
Nothing would be better than a 2-out base hit right here. Something in the gap. Get those runners moving. Foul ball. Just off the end of the bat. Just a gorgeous day. There has not been a cloud in the sky the entire day. Chamber of Commerce Day, they used to call these. Ground ball up the middle, and it gets into the outfield for a base hit. Mason's going to score easily.
There he goes.
Score standing up, so a 2-out base hit for Payan. Talk about clutch.
It's exactly what the Raptors needed at this very moment, especially with 2 outs on the board you're seeing. Scoreboard hasn't changed, but it is 2-1.
2-1. So that's what the Raptors needed, and that brings up Martine with a chance to do some more damage. Ooh. Hit it right in the helmet, on the helmet. And that's going to load him up. So the sacks are full of Raptors, and that brings up Hare with an opportunity to put the Raptors ahead. 2-out hit by Payan. You never know, something like that can sometimes just turn the tide. You're one pitch from getting out of the inning, and then Payan puts it right up the middle for a base hit. There's a shot to right. It's in there. Drops. Here comes
that's
one
2.
run.
Go,
it's
go,
all the
go.
way to the wall. Here comes the second run. And here comes Martine. Going to be a play at the plate. And he's out.
Let's go.
Raptors got just a little too aggressive there.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is it's a 2-run single by Hare. And so all of a sudden, of course, they haven't changed the scoreboard yet, but the Raptors are on top. We'll be right back with the 5th after this. Welcome back to the Germantown campus of Montgomery College. There's the MCTV plane.
Yes.
In the
yes.
air.
Yes.
Yeah, it's at MCTV 1.
That is actually the plane that we take from Rockville campus to the Germantown campus.
And the pilot, of course, is Dan Rankin.
It is. It is. It is. It's a great time on the plane.
Dan got his pilot's license a week and a half ago.
Yes.
And, now he's flying 747s.
Yeah.
So,
he actually got his drone pilot, and the drone pilot certified him to fly the MCTV plane. That
I
we all
understand.
fly. Yeah.
Things have relaxed a little bit with the FAA. So, back to the action. Top of the 5th inning. Raptors on top, 3-2. They put up 3 there in the bottom of the 4th, and Hubbard, I'm not sure whether that ball slipped out of his hand or what, but he's back out there, and he's got a lead. Top of the 5th. Again, this will be a 7-inning game. Since it is, we played 2 today. Ernie Banks would be happy. As Ernie always used to say, let's play 2. And we're playing 2 on an absolutely gorgeous day here in Germantown, Maryland. I mean, we've been up here for games in unbelievably rough conditions.
Yeah. And now that the weather is at this pristine condition, I can say every time we've been here in the last like 2.5, 3 years, it has rained.
Yes.
But not today.
No.
So I can say that so I don't jinx us.
No, I don't even think you could jinx us by saying it today.
Yeah. All of a sudden it just starts like pouring.
So Carroll leads off the inning with a walk, and that brings us back to the top of the order, and Urena. He bunts. Hubbard defers for the out. But he does move Carroll to second. Hubbard made the right decision there. So that brings up Perez. Doubled his last time up, but then was picked off. Raptors on top, 3-2. Essex jumped out to a 2-0 lead on a 2-run homer by Castillo in the 4th, and then the Raptors came back in the bottom half to put 3 on the board and take the lead back. Actually, it's the first lead the Raptors have had all afternoon.
Yeah, it actually has. Yep, they didn't lead at all in the first game.
Nope. First came out on the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a dangerous looking swing. Of course, Perez wearing one of the great center fielder numbers of all time, number 24. Willie Mays, of course, who many feel is probably the greatest, one of the greatest baseball players of all time.
For sure.
Certainly in the top 10. But Willie wore number 24. So did Ricky Henderson, the greatest leadoff hitter of all time.
Over Ichiro?
Over Ichiro. Ricky Henderson had more leadoff home runs than anybody in the history of baseball. And of course, he's the all-time stolen base champ.
There you go.
And maybe the possessor of the largest ego to ever play Major League Baseball. But you had to love Ricky. Foul ball down first baseline.
And there's
that's a great shot of the drone. And of course, the captain of the drone is Mickey Mouse.
Yes.
Or, I'm sorry, Mighty Mouse.
Oh.
Here I come to save the day. There's Mighty Mouse's feeder. Daniel. Swung right through that one. So Perez goes down swinging. And now there's 2 outs, and that brings up Zayas. Here's a look at that. Oof. Tough pitch by Hubbard. Right on the inside part of the plate. Jimmy Perez had no shot at that one. So 2 outs now. We're still on second base. Zayas has been on by a fielder's choice, has a stolen base, and he's also struck out. It's a piece of it, but it's foul. Damon Hubbard, sophomore pitcher out of Potomac. He has pitched a lot of innings for the Raptors this year. Still action in the Essex bullpen, which makes me strongly think that we're going to have a new pitcher in the next half inning. If he were not coming in, I don't think he'd still be throwing. Ball's 1 strike. 2 outs, top of the 5th, Raptors on top by way of a 3-run rally in the bottom of the 4th. In case you joined us late, the Raptors dropped the first game of our doubleheader. There's foul ball out to the right side, out on observation drive.
Hopefully no cars were driving by at that time.
It can be a little dicey out there at times.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen cars hit out there.
Very close.
Yeah, you can see how close it is. And a lot of times you'll see players out there chasing foul balls. Because we're not the major league. Oh, hit by a pitch. So that puts Zayas on. But, you know, it's no surprise Montgomery College baseball doesn't have the same budget as a major league team goes. So when a foul ball goes out of the ballpark, there's designated players to go get them. Strike 1. This is Cook. He was hit by a pitch his last time up and came around to score last inning. Rounded out his first time up. Right on the corner, strike 2.
That was a great pitch.
So Hubbard ahead in the count. No balls, 2 strikes. 2 on. Hubbard really wants to get out of this inning. Comes. Didn't get it to fish.
Hey, get your under.
Good discipline by Cook. just missed the outside corner. Wanted strike 3 there. That evens things up now. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out. Deuce is wild.
Come on, 2 win it, kid, win it.
Castillo on deck. Raptors really don't want to see him with the bases loaded.
That was really inside as well.
So that now moves the count to full. So after being ahead in the count 0-2, he's down to a full count and needs this pitch badly. Again, Castillo on deck. Last time up, he hit a no doubt about it shot to left field for a 2-run homer. And he lost him. That hurts. So Cook walks. That loads him up. And that brings up Rafael Castillo. This is loaded. And that is one of our camera operators out there, John Watson, who we like to call Father Time. And that is his way of keeping the glare off the viewfinder, because let me tell you, it is a real tough thing. If you're, depending on which way you are standing versus where the sun is, that sun can blind you.
Yeah.
So that you cannot follow that little white object. Uh-oh, wild pitch, run scores, and that ties it up. And other 2 runners move up to second and third. So now Castillo with 2 runners in scoring position, a run in. So the walks and the hit by pitch really come back to hurt Hubbard as Essex ties it, and they're still threatening. Castillo at the plate. And Hubbard now all of a sudden laboring.
Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of pitches on him right now.
He came into this inning with how many pitches, Evan? 60, 70.
He came into the inning with 70.
Came into the inning with 70, and he's thrown quite a few in this inning. This is his
he's at
1,
96
2, 3,
now.
4, 5. This is his 6th hitter of the evening, or the inning. And again, this guy last time up hit a 2-run bomb to left. Pops it up, foul, out of play.
Come on, 2 win
2
it,
balls,
kid,
2
win it.
strikes, 2 on, 2 out. 1 run in the inning
Guys,
for
seriously, one of
Essex.
you gotta get it.
Hubbard really needs to bear down here. This may be his final hitter. Foul, out of play. I don't know if there's any action in the Raptors bullpen or not. He just can't quite catch that outside corner. Up until this inning, he's been catching that outside corner a lot.
It could be fatigue.
I think that is part of the issue.
I mean, he's almost at 100 pitches.
For a lot of pitches this inning. And he lost him. So another walk. So that loads him up, and that brings up Bailey. comes Dan Rasher out for a little conversation. With Connor Bailey up.
Yeah, this is never a good conversation like you mentioned before.
No.
When the coach goes over and talks kind of to the pitcher, the infield, doesn't seem too happy.
And he is now up to 101 pitches. Obviously, Dan Rasher would like to see him get through this inning. Now we're going to have a meeting of the Essex Minds.
Oh, wow.
This looks like everyone's invited. Andre, would you like to join in? I mean, there's
well, I'm sure the coach is just saying, hit the ball. I mean, what else could you really say with 2 outs? Bases are loaded. I mean, you kind of just got to hit it and play.
This is definitely a key moment in the game. We're all knotted at 3. Sacks are juiced. And Bailey at the plate. Connor Bailey does have 3 bombs this season to go along with 20 RBIs. Key here is Hubbard's got to get that ball over the plate. And he starts with ball 1. As his control seems to have abandoned him in this inning. 3 walks and a hit by pitch. Through that one. 3 walks, a hit by pitch, and a wild pitch.
Not been his best inning.
No, tough inning. No hits. Good job by Martin to keep that ball in front of him. He lost it for a second, but he kept it in front of him, which is key. That ball gets past him. Essex is going to take the lead. Ball outside. 3 balls, 1 strike, and there is nowhere to put him. The sacks are full of Knights. And he will not be swinging here, I guarantee it, unless it's right down Broadway. Oh, he is. He lined it off the fist. It drops. 1 run scores. Here comes another run. There's a throw to second. He's safe. Wow. He hit it off the fists, and it went out into right field and dropped. So a 2-run single for Bailey.
And here is a replay.
Let's take a look at it.
He kind of hit it like close to his hands almost.
Yep, it was off his fist.
Yeah.
So Zayas scores, Cook scores. There's still 2 on, still 2 out, but all of a sudden Essex now has put up 3 in this inning to take a 5-3 lead, and that brings up Brewer, who walked his last time up, popped out his first time up. It's been a rough inning for the Raptors. Strike on the outside corner. That's the pitch that the call that Hubbard was looking for with Castillo and never got it. We're not out of the woods yet. Runners on second and third. First base is open.
You click on it, there might be an unsend.
That single by Bailey was the first hit of the inning for Essex. He just kind of muscled it off his fists out into right field. And the right fielder had no shot. Ooh, swung right through that one for the third out, but not before the damage is done, as Essex puts one of those crooked numbers on the scoreboard. They lead. And there you see that nice strike three, but not before Essex takes the lead back. They're on top 5-3. We're headed into the bottom of the fifth.
MC is defined by those who put in the work. The paths we took have been unique, but we come together with one shared mission.
If you are the first in your family to graduate, if you speak more than one language, if you are older than 50 years old, a military service member, an honor student, if you are a parent, please stand up and say, I am MC.
We don't just begin to be inspired by them after graduation. They've been inspiring us every step of the way.
And welcome back to the Germantown campus of Montgomery College. And look at those adorable young fans as they are enjoying the afternoon, the beautiful weather. I love the Princess Crown.
Oh, yeah. Future softball and baseball stars.
I tell you, right there. And I think we have a couple of changes. Justin Cook is now out, and he is replaced by number 9, Michael Amadeo, I should say. And the other change is Logan Bennett is out, and which we expected. And he is replaced by number 27, our new pitcher, Austin Shiflett. So the Raptors need to get going here.
Left fielder, Mickey Anderson.
And let's see, Cook was our first baseman, so we have a new first baseman in Amadeo. All right, leading off for the Raptors. Is Anderson, Mickey Anderson, looking for his first hit on the afternoon. He's 0 for 2 in this one. A fly ball to center and a strikeout. So a new pitcher in for Essex is a right-hander, number 27, Austin Shiflett. This is his 10th appearance of the season. And he makes quick work out of Mickey Anderson. So back to Shiflett. Shiflett has started 2 games. He's pitched 23 and a third innings. He has a 2-1 record on the season and a very nice 3.47 ERA. So, and he's facing Van Rosenbaum.
For viewers, Michael, that don't know a good ERA number, like what do you want to hover around?
Well, at this level, basically anything below 5 is pretty darn good. Anything below 4 is excellent. And occasionally you'll get a guy that goes below 3.
Yeah.
Or even below 2. But that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of it is because it is such a compressed season. They're playing 56 games in basically 2.5 months.
That's insane.
Yeah, a lot of doubleheaders. You know, we referenced the fact that Essex has had 4 doubleheaders in 5 days. That's ridiculous. Ground ball to second, throw to first in time for the out. So 1 up, 1 down. So we are getting word that there is action in the Raptors bullpen. And Mickey Anderson, we are told, is warming up. Mickey led off the inning, and now he's moved out to the bullpen. So that brings up Jaden Kritzky. Jaden is 0 for 2. 0 for 2. So Raptors trailing 5-3, bottom of the 5th. Again, this would be a 7-inning game. Shows bunt, takes it for a ball. Not sure what the umpire was gesturing there, but
I think he was asking for the other ump to make the call.
Help him out.
Yeah, a little bit of teamwork.
That happens a lot at this level with just 2 umpires. There's a lot for these guys to keep track of. Good look at Shiflett, big fella. Ooh, he thought he had strike 3. He was halfway to the dugout. Umpire thought otherwise.
Let's go, Kritzky! Let's go, Krit!
And now he got strike 3 on a swing. So 1, 2, 3 inning for Shiflett. So we've played 5 full. Raptors trailing 5-3.
Show me some respect, yeah. I'm a dawn and you know it. I'm giving you a shot, show up, don't blow it. If I'm in my zone, don't stop me flowing. Gotta give me a moment, I'm a star, let me show it. Some people say I'm too far gone, but I'm right where I belong. They can't help but see me shine. I'm hella fly and my mind is long. Everybody wanna tag along. I'ma be that girl till I die.
At Montgomery College, dedication has no end, and ambition knows no age. Discover your passion, unlock your potential, and become the author of their future too at Montgomery College.
And welcome back to the Germantown campus of Montgomery College. Michael Brown alongside my partner Andre Anderson. We are all set to start the top half of the 6th inning. And the Raptors have a new hurler on the mound. It's Mickey Anderson. Mickey was playing out in left field. He's now moved into the pitcher's mound. And he is replaced in the outfield by Guardado, Michael Guardado, who played in the first game. And he'll be out there in left field now for the Raptors. And no other changes that I can tell at the moment, that I can see at the moment.
Six is at first base. Hayden Hare.
So here's what's happened. Hayden Hare, who was the DH in Game 2, has moved to first base. So Guardado is now in left field. He was not in this game. He played in the first game. And then Mickey Anderson, who was in left field, will move to pitcher. So now there will not be a DH for the Raptors. So those are the changes that were made. Excuse me, that were made. All right, so we are underway. And Lorenzo Rodriguez Pozo is leading off for Essex. Pozo is hitless so far in this game. And let's bring you up to date on Mickey Anderson as a pitcher. Really has not pitched much. Just had one appearance, only pitched one inning, and that was a rough one. So we'll see what happens here. Swings and misses at strike 3. He's dropped, but they get him easily at first for the out. So Anderson starts it out the way you want to, with a K.
Brody Carroll.
And that brings up Brody Carroll now. He is 0 for 1. Last time up, he walked and scored on a wild pitch. First time up, he lined it right back to the pitcher. So Anderson played every inning today.
An ice bath is going to be needed after this one.
Kamen Hubbard threw a lot of pitches. He got it up over 100 pitches. Isn't that correct, Evan? 110 pitches, according to our statistician, Evan Brown. So top of the 6th, Raptors trailing 5-3.
Come on, Mick. Here you go, kid.
Good for a ball.
Kid.
Anderson's job here is to prevent any more scoring. Just hold Essex down and hope the Raptors offense. There's a line drive to the left. He's going to motor into second. Almost lost his footing.
Got him.
Ooh, very close.
Wow.
Like
he got him.
Let's take a look. You see, he lost his footing, and then he didn't. Ooh, I guess he got that. I guess he got that right leg in there. Boy, that was close. Great camera work. Great camera work. So Carroll with a double. Boy, that stumble almost cost him. So that brings up Urena. And he is 0 for 1. He grounded out in the first, he walked, and the third was eventually picked off. And then last time up, he had a successful sacrifice bunt, and there's a base hit into right field. Ooh. Raptors get it right back in, and they hold Carroll at third. Good play by the right fielder out there.
Yeah, way to get there.
Got there quickly, cut it off, got that ball right back in. But nevertheless, Essex now with runners on the corner and Jimmy Perez up, one of their most dangerous hitters. He's 1 for 2 in the second game. There's a bunt. That's going to score a run. Beautiful drag bunt. He beats it out. And that is a beautifully executed play there by Essex.
Yeah, this is a rough start once again for the Raptors. Everything's kind of going for the Knights right now.
Yep. Yep, so that's an RBI for Perez. Runners now on first and second, and Zayas is up. He was hit by a pitch last inning and came around to score. He scored on Bailey's single. So Urena now at second, Perez at first, so they have excellent speed on the base pass.
High pitch. Anderson is throwing the ball with a lot of heat. I mean, he is fresh, just got in.
Yeah.
Well, he was playing left field. He's fresh as a pitcher, but that last pitch, he was throwing it at 82 miles per hour.
Ooh, right up the middle, hits off his shin. Like a hockey goaltender there. Stopped the ball from most likely going into center field because that ball was hit sharply.
Yeah.
So now the bases are juiced. Yep. That kick save and a beauty kept the ball from going into center field. That ball was hit right up the middle. Umpire, that was a nice move, making sure that Anderson was okay. So that brings up Amadeo for his first time up. Amadeo comes into this. He's hitting under 100. Not played much.
Wow.
Only has 1 hit on the season. So this is some rare playing time for him. Amadeo from Lusby, Maryland. Foul out of play.
Are you getting that? Thank you.
One of the pitches that Anderson does have in his repertoire is a knuckler. And of course that makes it extra difficult on the catcher.
And I know one.
Oh, there's a sharply hit single into right center. 1 run scores. Here comes Perez with another run. So a 2-run single up the middle by Amadeo.
Yeah, for someone who hasn't been hitting that much this season, that was a very good hit.
That's his first RBIs of the season. And now all of a sudden it's 8-3 with runners on second and third and Castillo up. Castillo hit a bomb to left field, 2-run homer back in the fourth. Throw to first, back in time.
Yeah, but back to that knuckleball. You probably remember Tim Wakefield used to throw that knuckleball for the Boston Red Sox.
Yep. Sadly, Tim passed away just a year or two ago from brain cancer. Terrible. And young kids. He was a real class guy, Tim Wakefield. Runners on the corners. Just one out. There's a shot to left. That's in there. Comes another run. Zayas scores. As Castillo with another RBI. So, big inning for Essex. Now we're got to kind of start talking about the mercy rule, although there's still 3 runs from it. But Mickey Anderson is getting knocked around a little bit out there.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough for him.
And there is action in the Raptors bullpen. Grant English is warming up out there. Grant's a freshman pitcher. Appeared in 2 games so far this season.
Man, my back is killing me.
Good Raptors pitching coach, Vince Capozzi. And Anderson will stay in there.
Yeah, I've noticed that the coaches, even if they do want to pull the pitcher, they kind of like let the pitcher stay in for the rest of the inning. They at least try to get himself out of it.
Well, again, part of that is out of necessity because of the worn-out pitching staff. Let's you know, or the highly used pitching staff. There's a bunt, foul, nobody can get to it. So Bailey is up now. He had a 2-run single last inning. Actually, he's 2 for 3 today. 2 singles, 2 RBIs, and a stolen base. He takes a hit, gets away. Another run's going to score. That's a wild pitch. On a knuckleball. So Amadeo scores. That makes it 10-3. Still just 1 out. Last 2 innings have been rough ones. Well, actually, the last 3 innings have been rough ones for the Raptors. There's a pop-up, and that's going to stay in the infield. Oh, he dropped it. Oh, my goodness. And it's not an infield fly rule situation, so puts runners on first and second. Nothing going right for the Raptors.
Yeah, defensively it's been rough. Pitching as well.
So that brings up Brewer. So Castillo scores on that error. That's a ball. So again, after 5 innings, if a team at the completion of an inning, if a team is up by 10, then the ball game is over. Oh, wow. Lined it right back to Anderson. He caught it in a almost life-preserving way.
Oh my goodness!
And then was threw the ball to first to double off Bailey, and that ends the inning.
That's what they needed. I mean, look at the replay here. Wow.
I don't know how he caught it. Frankly, it's a good thing he did. Otherwise, he'd have been a hurting buckaroo. So, after a rough half inning, Essex on top, 10-3. We'll be right back.
Career success starts at Montgomery College. At MC, you can prepare for a rewarding career in these exciting fields. And if your goal is earning a bachelor's degree, starting at MC is a smart choice. MC's award-winning team supports you every step of the way, with advising, tutoring, and career preparation to help you make your move. Join the thousands that are getting the education they need to succeed at Montgomery College.
Employers are looking for licensed physical therapy assistants. MC has a 2-year degree program for jobs in this career. PT assistants work with people of all ages recovering from all injuries. You could be working at a hospital, a large corporation, a private practice, a nursing home. The list is long. And in this area, the average pay is good. Learn more about becoming a physical therapy assistant and how MC can help you get there.
Montgomery College is home to those whose dedication doesn't rest. Those who know that it's not about the hours you put in, but what you put into the hours that transforms lives. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your full potential at Montgomery College.
And welcome back. We are all set for the bottom of the 6th inning. Raptors got a big hole to dig out of. They're trailing 10-3. They lost the opener 8-3. So it's been a rough day for the Raptors, but there's still time. They just need base runners, and that's when things happen. So leading off for the Raptors is Trey Mason. Trey has walked and flown out. He's also scored a run. Hits a shot to center. But and it's in there for a hit. So 1 pitch, 1 single. That's Trey's first hit of the game of the afternoon. That brings up Machado. He's been on both times up. He had a double, and last time up he walked and scored. And Shiflett is still in there for Essex.
Yeah, keep an eye on Mason, potential steal.
My guess is at this point they will not have him stealing unless it's a wild pitch or something like that, because they need base runners. They're down 7. They need to score in bunches here, and they're running out of time. Ooh, little chin music. Machado could probably have counted the seams on the ball. That got so close to him. Reaches out, pokes it into right field for a base hit. Nice piece of hitting there by Machado.
Yeah, great start to the inning for the Raptors. 2 on base. Maybe home run coming up.
Machado's been on base now all 3 times he's been up, and that brings up Mandler. He's walked and lined out. Last time up, he hit a bullet to third, but third baseman handled it. It's ball 1. So the Raptors get the first 2 men of the inning on against Shiflett. Austin Shiflett, a freshman from Dundalk. There's a bouncer to third. They get the out at first, but both runners advance. So that brings up Payan. Payan had a RBI single center his last time up, and then he came around to score during the Raptors' 3-run 4th inning. Seems like a long time ago, Andre.
It does. It really does.
So Mason at second, Mason at third, Machado at second. One of these days I'll get that right.
It's the M's. The M's are confusing.
And Pan at the plate. Good opportunity here for some RBIs. Fouls it right back to us. Definitely swung at a ball there. Sometimes you just can't lay off those high ones.
No, I mean, when they're coming towards you, it seems like they're like straight down the middle. And the closer it kind of gets is when you start to realize, oh, it's a low high. By that time, it's too late because you already swung.
Catcher framed it but didn't get the call. Good opportunity here for the Raptors to chip away at that lead. Make things a little interesting. All right, he walked him. So Peyton walks. Now the sacks are full. And that'll bring up Martin.
Michael Guardado.
Wait a minute.
Wait, that's
that is Guardado. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want that? You don't want that?
So this is his first time up in the second game. And a powwow on the mound. Confab. Basically what they're saying is, listen, guy, we're up 10-3. We got a long ride home. Let's get this thing over with.
Yeah, let's get going. I have class in the morning at 8 a.m.
So Michael Guardado.
Come on, Myrtle. Here you go, kid.
He was hitless in the first game. 0 for 3. Fouls one off.
Myrtle. Good job, kid. Need you here.
Ball high. Good velocity for Shiflett. That's another one out. One thing you learn about if you park your car here at Germantown, you don't want to park it in the parking lot too close to the field.
No, don't do that.
Because you might come back to your car with a spider web for a windshield.
Yeah, I made sure to park all the way towards the other side.
Oh, yes.
Close to the globe.
Guardado takes a called strike 3. And that'll bring up Hayden Hare. He had a double his last time up, knocked in 2 runs. Two-run double to right field his last time up. One out. I'm sorry, 2 outs. Bases loaded with Raptors. Base hit here would be huge. Oh, there's a fly ball to deep center. And it is a grand slam home run.
Wow.
Hayden Hare hits it a grand slam to dead center field. It was tough for us to see because of the shadows out there. But, boy, that was a no doubt about it shot for Hayden Hare.
Exactly what the Raptors needed. That could spark something for the team.
That is for sure. So all of a sudden now, it's 10-7.
And here is the replay.
There it goes. And with that shadow, makes it pretty tough to see, but it was a no doubt about it shot.
I just heard it and turned around as it gets going.
Dead center field. There's another fly ball to deep left, and it's gone. Back-to-back home runs. As Mickey Anderson finally, he's been looking for his first hit today. He just knocked a no doubt about it shot into the pines in left. So back-to-back homers for the Raptors. That's his team leading 6th of the season.
Here we go. There's that energy.
There it goes. Way gone.
Yep. That's the
Way
energy
gone.
the team needs right there. No. Oh.
Ground ball to third. Over to first for the out. But the Raptors put 5 on the board to cut the lead to 10-8. We're moving to the top of the 7th. It's a 2-run game, folks. Don't go anywhere.
want it. This type of flow make a living break. Confessions over these 808s. Don't sleep on the key, better stay away. Exhausted. This passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it. Nah, you cannot stop it.
Operations research, data analysts. All businesses need analytics. They anticipate the growth to be 25% over the next 5 years.
And welcome back to the Germantown campus of Montgomery College, and we've got ourselves a ball game here, folks. We are ready to go into the top of the 7th. There's a new pitcher on the mound for the Raptors, number 17, Grant English. Grant is a freshman out of Reisterstown. Only had 2 appearances this season so far. He's pitched 3 1/3 innings. We'll just say the ERA is not what he wants it to be.
There's always room for improvement.
I'm sure it will be coming down after today. And looks to me like his biggest problem may be control. So the last thing the Raptors need is to give up base on balls. So let's see. Let's hope that Grant can find that strike zone. He's a big fellow, that's for sure. I would put Grant at easy 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, that is a big freshman.
That guy is quite a presence on the mound.
6'5".
6'5". That's a grown man, folks.
Oh yeah, that's a defensive end.
From Reisterstown. So they got Grant out of Essex territory.
Yeah.
So his job here is to not allow any more runs and then hope that the Raptors' reawakened offense can conjure something up here in the bottom of the 7th. That grand slam homer by Hare, you never know. Something like that can just light a fire. Raptors almost batted around that last inning. Of course, so did Essex. Essex did bat around in their half of the 6th. That was a very long inning.
That was a bit low, but MC will take it.
This is Ethan Holland. He's hit by a pitch. Not a good way to start the inning.
Dig deep, kid. Dig deep. You're good.
Holland was replacing Rodriguez Pozo. And that brings up Brody Carroll. He had a double his last time up. He scored 2 runs today, or in this second game. Been on base 2 of the 3 times he's been up. Double, a walk, and he's also lined back to the pitcher. Shows bunt. Strike 1. There's more action in the Raptors bullpen. Number 19, Chris Lowry, is also heating up. That catching position is a tough one. He took a bunt off the inside of his leg.
Yeah, I mean, the squatting, first of all, for this amount of time is insane.
Tell me about it.
I'm just sitting down and my knees are hurting. Can't imagine squatting.
Well, he did a good job keeping that ball in front of him. So English is making his catcher work. Runner's going, foul back. So obviously the hit and run was on. Essex is an aggressive running team. They may try to manufacture something here to give themselves a little more of a cushion. Steals second, uncontested, as the pitch was way outside. And so English having trouble with that strike zone. There's a right down the middle, but oh, great stop by Rosenbaum. His only play was third, but just couldn't get there in time.
Yeah, but a great defensive effort, though.
Great job to keep it in the infield. Otherwise, Holland scores for sure. So, Carroll with an infield hit. And that'll bring up Urena. Urena's had a productive second game. Last time up, he had a base hit to right. He's had a successful sacrifice bunt. He's walked. So he's been in the mix all afternoon. So runners now on the corners. The Raptors can ill afford to give up any more runs here. Raptors Jaden Kritzky will lead off the Raptors' seventh, bottom of the seventh, which is the last inning of the game, barring
There's
a strike.
Another steal.
But another steal. So English is obviously not holding them that well, as that was uncontested again. There's a bouncer up the middle. That's going to score a run. It goes through to center. Seeing eye single. 2-run score. And that is, that's a tough one. As Urena bounces one through the middle. Picks up 2 RBIs. And that's, so the hit by pitch comes back to haunt him. The single.
And another
base hit for Perez. First pitch swinging.
Ooh.
Boom. Right on top of it.
Right in the gap between the first and second baseman.
Perez has been one of the better, one of the most impressive players out here this afternoon, for sure. Done a little bit of everything. That brings up Zayas, shows bunt, and Raptors can't handle it cleanly, so Urena takes third. Still nobody out. Runners on the corners. I think what we're seeing here is the result of a lot of injuries to the Raptors pitching staff. As a result, the pitchers are being overused, and some pitchers are being put into situations which maybe they're not quite ready for.
Yeah. Or even at a tight game, you know, bringing a guy in at the 5th or 6th inning. That's not easy for a pitcher just coming out of the bullpen.
No.
Having to face that kind of pressure.
So Payan does a great job to keep that ball in front of him. Runners on second and third. Nobody out. There's a hard hit ball, and it gets into right field. 1 run scores. Here comes Perez. He scores standing. So a 2-run single for Zayas. And boy, all of a sudden a 2-run game is a 6-run game. Last couple of innings of this game have
been a little rough.
Been a little rough and taken quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
And that's a wild pitch. Zayas moves up to third. This is Amadeo. He had a 2-run single his last time up, which was his first time up. He came in as a substitute for Cook at first base and immediately had a 2-run single and then eventually scored himself. And there's a shot to center. Mason hauls it in, but not before another run scores on a sac fly. Take a look at that. Mason drifts over, makes the catch, but easy tag up and score. So, boy, Amadeo has come in at 3 RBIs in 2 innings.
Having himself a game.
Yeah. So that brings up Castillo, who's had a heck of a game. And a 2-run homer in the 4th, and then a RBI single in the 6th. All of a sudden, it's a 7-run lead for Essex. Still just 1 out. Gonna miss. Ball's 1 strike. Top of the 7th.
Okay, win it here, kid.
Raptors will come up in the bottom of the 7th, but they will have a whole lot of work to do. To avoid a doubleheader sweep. Raptors dropped the first game. Danger of dropping the second. Castillo's the DH here in the second game for Essex. And he lost him. To show you how the string of innings that Essex has put together, Castillo is now hit in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th inning.
Wow, I didn't even realize that.
So he is hit in each of the last 4 innings.
Man.
And if that's happening, it's not good for the opponent.
Yeah. It means they're just getting hit, they're getting on base, they're scoring, they're getting around.
They've had a lot of base runners today. Bailey up. He was on by an error, and he has a couple of singles and 2 RBIs. A lot of productive hitters in this Essex lineup. And when I was prepping for the game, I looked at those. There's a hard shot to third. Goes to second for 1. Not in time at first, but they do get the force at second. Nice play there by Machado. Take a look at that. Nice play. Goes to second for 1. Not in time at first, but well done by the Raptors. That brings up Brewer.
And a steal.
Brewer hit into a double play to end the last inning. Another uncontested steal for Essex. 2 outs now. Swings through that one. So English heading the count. No balls, 2 strikes. It's definitely settled down. But damage may be done, folks. Runner moves. Got to get him at first, and he does. Nice play there by the shortstop, Rosenbaum. Been doing that all day. But Essex puts 5 on the board. They now lead 15-8. Bottom of the 7th. We'll be coming up after this. Nice play by Rosenbaum.
Yeah, that was nice.
Nicely done. He's played a solid short all day long. We'll be right back.
Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, now hold your breath and face your death.
And welcome back, and look at that beautiful shot. Everything turning green around here. The trees on Observation Drive are budding. They're blooming. It's just a beautiful shot, brought to you by the MCTV drone. And we are, if only the score on the scoreboard were as beautiful as Daniel's drone shot.
Yeah.
Of course, the captain of that drone is the infamous, famous Mighty Mouse. And leading off for the Raptors is Jaden Kritzky. Jaden looking for his first hit here in the second game. We have a new pitcher in for, or no, I'm sorry.
No, same pitcher.
Same pitcher. Despite giving up a couple of Dr. Long balls last inning, they put him back out there based on that 5 spot that Essex put on. There's a seeing eye single into. Oh, nice job of covering by Shiflett. Boy,
Yeah,
I
that
thought we
was-
had a seeing eye single. First baseman ranged far to his right, made a nice play, and Shiflett showed a lot of hustle to get over there and cover. So, 1 up, 1 down.
Yeah, he had a hustle too to
He
get to that
did.
base.
Nice job. Nice job. You gotta give credit where credit is due.
I'm also noticing his pretty cool glove, that teal colored.
He's got a teal colored glove. Of course, did you notice Prince's or the Raptors pitcher in the last inning had a sort of a mauve colored glove, like a light purple. That was pretty cool. Grant English.
Those are always pretty cool. Seeing all the the swag that players have,
Yep.
and kind of their own personality and creativity with the game.
Anyway, that brings up Trey Mason. Trey singled his last time up, came around to score. As the Raptors had a great bottom of the 6th, put up 5, but then promptly turned right around and gave 5 right back. Well, not gave 5 right back, but allowed 5 right back.
Yeah.
So Trey trying to get it going. Raptors would need an epic comeback. We have had some great comebacks here over the years.
Oh,
Mason hits one deep to left, but not deep enough. In for the catch. And now 2 quick outs. 2 up, 2 down. And that leaves it up to Machado, who has looked real good since he came into the game. Unfortunately, he came in as a substitute for Blake Newell, who took a bad hop, hard hit ball to the face.
Yeah.
And they had to take him out, obviously. He was bleeding. And we're all hoping he's fine. Raptors down to their last out. And no balls, 2 strikes, so this could be it right here. I doubt that Shiflett's going to get cute. I think he's going to go for the K. Yep. Way outside. Two outs, bottom of the 7th. 2 strikes. Machado takes it high.
Ooh.
Evens the count at 2-2.
Go, Machado. Go, Chado. Let's go, Chado. Yeah.
Outside. It's going to make him earn that 3rd out.
Yep. Full count.
Which you like to see. He's a competitor. Raptors not conceding a thing. You wouldn't expect that either under head coach Dan Rasher. There's a fly ball out to right. He's under it. Gathers it in for the 3rd out. So the Raptors drop a doubleheader today. They lose the opener 8-3. They drop the second game 15-8. Any final thoughts, Andre?
It was a hard fought game by both teams. Raptors didn't get the victory in either game, but it was only 2. They have another doubleheader on Saturday. I'm sure they have another one coming up very soon after that. They have a chance to kind of, get some wins and build on from there.
Well, it was a tough afternoon for the Raptors. They showed great fire. Of course, they never quit.
Yeah.
They're going down to the last strike, but it was just a tough afternoon for the Raptors, and frankly, a very impressive afternoon for Essex. They got a complete game out of their starting pitcher in the first game, and in the second game, boy, they just dialed up the long ball.
They did. They really did.
And they played well in the field.
They did. They
played well in the field. So tough way for the Raptors to end the day. Tough for us. We're not used to calling doubleheader losses for the Raptors. This is a very rare occasion.
Yeah.
But for all of us here at Montgomery College Television, we hope you have enjoyed it. I do want to say thank you so much to the MCTV crew for your wonderful work. The camera work was just outstanding, and it was really just a fabulous afternoon to watch baseball. Great job by the MCTV crew. So for my partner, Andre Anderson, I'm Michael Brown. Thanks so much for watching Montgomery College Baseball on MCTV.
This ain't no regular thing. I came for the ring, you know what I mean. I shoot my shot and it's clean. This is my city, yeah, this is my team. If you talking and talking me nice, I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights, better get right, I'm champion. The game is in trouble, I've been in my depth for the piece of the puzzle, I got it for real. Still keep me going, I wake up and hustle, you won't see me buckle, I've been in the field. Man of the town, you been in your fields, I'm adjusting this crown. Call me your majesty, either that or your tragedy. We shutting everything down. I've been high like somebody put a candle on them. Off top, I don't really stand opponents, this mine. The moment is run out and start a bunch of pandemonium. More game, I got